Let me ask you something. How well do you actually know yourself? Not the version that shows up for everyone else or performs and produces and holds it all together. I mean, the real you, the one underneath all of that, the one who has patterns you didn't choose, reactions you don't fully understand, and a body that's been trying to tell you something for a very long time. Most of us were never taught to observe ourselves. We've been taught to manage ourselves, control ourselves, push through. Observation, that's where everything changes, and that's what we're talking about today. Hey, friend, welcome back to the Rooted Method series. I'm Samantha, and if you are just joining us, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Last week we covered R, regulate. We talked about why safety has to come before expansion and why your nervous system is the foundation of everything. If you haven't watched that episode yet, go back and start there. It will make everything we do from here on make more sense. So this week we're moving into the second letter, O for observe. Awareness creates choice. Here's the thing about observation that took me a long time to understand. It's not the same as self-criticism. Some of us think we know ourselves because we spend a lot of time in our heads analyzing, judging, replaying, and like I said, criticizing. But that is not observation. That is just noise. True observation is different. It is the practice of watching yourself, your patterns, your reactions, your body, your emotions without immediately judging what you see, without rushing to fix it, without deciding it means something is wrong with you. It is the ability to witness your own experience from a place of curiosity rather than criticism. And you cannot change what you haven't truly seen. You cannot heal what you are still pretending isn't there. You cannot make a new choice when you don't even realize you're operating in an old pattern. Awareness is the light that makes choice possible. Without it, you're navigating in the dark, doing the same things, getting the same results, wondering why nothing is changing. The observed stage is about turning that light on. When I was in the thick of my own healing after I made the decision to address my autoimmune disease naturally, I thought the work was mostly physical, like change my diet, add herbs, reduce stress, check all of those boxes, maybe add a ton of supplements. But what I kept running into was myself, my patterns, my responses, the way I would override my body's signals before I had a to-do list to finish. The observed stage is what broke that open for me. It was steady and it was very uncomfortable, but it was a practice of finally paying attention to my body, my triggers, the stories I was telling myself, the patterns I had been carrying for decades without even knowing. What I found when I started truly observing without judgment, with curiosity, that changed everything. Inside the Rooted Method, the observed stage is built around 5 key areas of awareness. So let's go through each one of them. The first pillar is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation of the entire stage. It starts with one simple but profound practice, paying attention to what is actually happening inside of you in any given moment. Like, what are you feeling right now? Not just emotionally, but physically in your body. Are you holding tension? What does your energy feel like today? What thoughts have been running on repeat? Most of us move through our days completely disconnected from this layer of our experience. We are reacting to our schedules, to other people, to our circumstances without even pausing to check in with what is actually going on inside. So self-awareness is the pause. It's the moment between stimulus and response where you get to choose something different. But you can only access that pause if you know yourself well enough to recognize what's happening before you react. Pillar number 2, emotional triggers. We all have them. Situations, words, dynamics that send us from regulated to a reactive state in an instant. It could be being dismissed, feeling unseen, conflict, criticism, being asked to do more than you can actually hold. Maybe it's something someone says that lands wrong and you don't know why. You just know it set something off in you. Triggers are not character flaws. They are information. They are your nervous system's memory pointing back to something unresolved, something that needed more care than it got previously. In the observed stage, we learn to get curious about our triggers rather than ashamed of them. We ask, what is this reaction telling me? What does it need? Where did I first learn to feel this way? That curiosity without self-judgment is how you begin to loosen the grip on your triggers that have been controlling your life. Pillar number 3, burnout patterns. This is one especially important for us, right? For a lot of the women I work with, for me previously, because so many of us don't recognize burnout until we are completely underwater. We have been so conditioned to push, produce, be the strong one, to hold it all together, that we have lost the ability to read the early signals our body sends when we are approaching our limit. That fatigue that shows up before a crash, the feeling, that irritability that shows up before a breakdown, the numbness that shows before you're completely disconnected. They're not random, they're patterns. And once you see your pattern, once you can recognize the early stages and signals your body sends, you can intervene before you hit the wall. Observing your burnout patterns is one of the most protective things you could do for yourself. It is your body's early warning system, and it's most important that we learn to read it. Pillar number 4, inherited beliefs. This is the layer that most people never look at, and it might be one of the most important ones. You're carrying beliefs right now about your worth, your capabilities, what you deserve, what is possible for you, what women like you do or don't do, or people. I mean, I know there's some men here too. I don't want to exclude anybody from this, but I just resonate most with working moms. So these beliefs, they were never yours to begin with. They can come from your family, your culture, your religion, your childhood experiences, the messages that you receive about who you were supposed to be and how you were supposed to show up and how things are done, that inside the box thinking. And they are running the background of everything, every decision, relationship, time you stay quiet when you should speak, every time you should every time you shrink when you should have expanded, every time you say yes when everything in you is saying, say no, say no. In the observed stage, we start to surface these beliefs, not to blame anyone for where they came from, but to see them clearly enough to decide, is this actually true? Is this mine? Does this serve my life that I'm trying to build? Awareness of an inherited belief is the beginning of the end of its power over you. So let's move to pillar number 5, body awareness. Your body is communicating with you constantly. Every symptom, sensation, tension, stomach drop, if you feel like chest tightness, shallow breath, your shoulders up by your ears, your body is not betraying you. It's really just talking to you. And in the observed stage, we learn to listen, not to immediately fix it or suppress what we're feeling, but to just be curious about it, to ask, what is my body trying to tell me right now? This was transformational for me in my own healing journey when I stopped fighting my body and started listening to it, treating its signals as information rather than like an inconvenience. I began to understand what it actually needed. And that understanding became the roadmap for my healing. Your body has been keeping score this whole time. In the observed stage, you finally start reading it. So the big picture here, observation is not passive. It is one of the most courageous things you will ever do, because truly seeing yourself, your patterns, triggers, inherited stories, your body signals, all of those symptoms, they require you to stop running, to stop numbing, to stop staying busy enough that you never have to sit with what's actually going on underneath there. And that takes so much courage. And what is on the other side of that courage is choice, the real choice, not the kind where you react from old programming and call it a decision. It's the kind where you see what's happening clearly enough to actually choose something different, to reroute. That is the gift of the observation stage. It doesn't just show you who you have been, it opens the door to who you are becoming or what you're capable of. It connects directly back to what we built in regulation because a regulated nervous system is what makes true observation possible. When you're in survival mode, you cannot observe, you can only react at that point. Safety is what creates the space to see. This is why the order matters. This is why I built the foundation first, or that's what we're doing. We're building the foundation first. And here's your practice for this week. At least once a day, maybe in the morning or in the evening, or a quiet moment that you have, I want you to pause and ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I feeling right now, emotionally and physically? What patterns have I noticed in myself today? Is there a belief that I'm operating from that I didn't consciously choose? You don't have to feel like you need to fix anything right now. Just observe it. This is the stage that we're not fixing, we're just observing, we're seeing things more clearly. Be very compassionate to yourself, but also very honest. And just notice, write it down. Let it be information rather than, pressure. Next week, we will move into the 3rd letter O for open, because once you see yourself clearly, you create the conditions for something remarkable or something different, the ability to finally open up, to receive, to heal at a level that goes deeper than the surface. So subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment below. What's one pattern you've been starting to notice in yourself? And I'll be right there with you in the comment section. Thank you for being here. This work matters. You matter. I'll see you next week, and keep coming home to yourself. Bye, y'all.